Hello, hi. Thank you for having me here tonight. My name is Alistair Sanchez. I have a background in religious studies as well as a background in psychology. And I'm here to talk to you all tonight about an issue that I think is pervasive throughout our world today. I really think when you get to the heart of all of these social justice issues and economic issues and political issues, it really comes down to one central core idea, right? The idea of inequality. Sure. Uh, the idea that in this society, not everybody is in fact equal. Like if you take just for example, just the issue of marriage rights that's been recently in the news, it basically boils down to the same thing every time. A group of people stands up and says, "Hey, we're all humans here, right? We don't want to be treated unfairly. We feel like we are being treated unfairly, and here are the ways we'd like you to change." Just every issue kind of comes down to that same basic argument. So the point of this talk is kind of tear down the barriers between separate issues and show that if we approach inequality as a whole, that together we can make this world a better place, just like the ancient dread gods promised us before the first coming of man. Right? So let's go into this idea of inequality. Let's talk about the subject that's probably the most difficult to talk about, racial inequality. All right, I'm going to try my best not to put my foot in my mouth. I'm sorry here. But let's really look at where that comes from. All right, racial inequality. A number of times it's boiled down to disliking somebody simply because of their skin color, right? And what is that really, skin color? It's just a difference in the levels of melanin, right? So when you're being racially biased on that point, you're basically saying, I don't like melanin. Now, this is in contrast to what some of the old prophets have taught. As it says in the old death texts, those who commit bad deeds will appear to others as darker, right? But I think there's dispute on this point. Whereas the death texts say darker, I think it means darken your soul. Whereas if someone is sinister and has bad intentions, they will appear evil. You know what I'm talking about when you're walking down the street and you're like, that guy. Right? Okay, that's how I take it. Some people are like, no, the dread gods are attaching your sins in the form of actual chemicals that are connecting to your flesh, the way that all sins connect to the flesh. But that's ridiculous. Moving on. There's a lot of financial inequality in this world, right? I mean, there are haves and there are have-nots, and then there are the demons that exist in the parallel space between those two mortal realms, but we're not going to address that. We're going to look at the haves and the have-nots, okay? What is a have-not? It's just someone that does not have, okay? And as we all know, due to the ancient prophecies, we all have one singular destiny of pain and misery after we leave this mortal plane of existence. So, thinking like that, we're all haves. None of us are have-nots. We all have life. We all have the ability to bleed. We all have the ability to cry out in pain and wail for the suffering of those we love and those who we have not met. We're all the same. All right? Which brings me to my third point. All right, politics. Now, I would be remiss if I did not bring up and mention the current presidential candidate, Mr. Donald Trump. And now that I've brought him up, we can all move on. But basically, the political landscape has become this brutal, demonic, savage. I mean, it's become like the fourth nether realm when, like, after the part where Xenon comes down, strikes down all the non-believers and says, I will eat your flesh in order. You all know the story. What I'm saying is that we need to stop looking at politicians like there's some evil, crooked figures, because the real evil awaits us all on the other side of the void after we take our last breath. No, everybody in politics is just a person. Like you. Like me. Like Stevie. We're all just people. We all want the same thing, to have our corporeal existence be filled with pleasure, so that by the time we die and are taken to the ether realm and put through our eternal torment and suffering, we will have at least had the opportunity to look back and know what pleasure was, so that for our eternal existence, we will know what pain is. So what I'm saying in closing, we're all humans, we're all people, life is pleasure, death is suffering. Thank you.